how to go from emasculated nice guy to grounded masculine man. I put two pictures there. I put a picture there. That guy on the left hand side that you see is getting his hair blow dried or whatever I'm doing there. That is me as a emasculated nice guy, but that was when I was trying to break out of it. But I had the wrong idea of what it meant to break out of that nice guy thing. I thought, okay, I need to look cool and act cool and get dreads. That's what I was trying to do there. I was like getting my hair twisted. I need to get dreads. I need to look tough and this and that. And I had like this superficial idea of how to get past that nice guy thing. Like, let me just look different, right? Instead of actually making the internal changes, right? Swapping out the old subconscious programs in my mind for new subconscious programs, or changing my habits, or working on being the type of man that I really want to be. Going after my goals and all that. Instead of that, I was trying to take the easy route. Oh, let me change the way I look. So you can see that's me trying to get some dreads. And if you look at my face, I look miserable right there. I am miserable because it's almost like intuitively I knew it wasn't gonna work, and I still did it. I remember a girl came up to me while I was in that hair salon, and she was like, "You look stressed out." And you know how kids are; they're just gonna say like whatever they really feel like saying. They're not gonna filter it. So she was just telling me some real shit, like, "Yo, you look stressed out." And I just felt it when she said that. I was like, man, she's kind of right, man. I'm stressed out. Like, I don't know. I'm over here trying to figure out. My issue was I was trying to figure out how to get some girls, man. You see, when you're an emasculated nice guy, you are actually playing a character that does not get girls. Girls are not looking for an emasculated nice guy. Girls are not looking for a guy that's just gonna be nice to them and put them on a pedestal and just seek their validation all the time. And that's how I was. Believe it or not, that's how I was. I remember in middle school I used to like get down and tie girls' shoes, and anytime I had gum, I would give them gum. Then when I got into high school, I got a little smarter. I was like, okay, tying girls' shoes and giving them gum is not gonna make them like you. But what I did was I would still be this nice guy though. I would still be so polite. Oh, hey, let me open the door for you, and hey, you're so beautiful, and you know, um, just like basically bend over for them. Do whatever they say. Just anything to make them happy. And what was interesting is that I had a look, so I was into hip hop, right? So I would dress a certain way. I would dress like I'm, a rapper or whatever, but then they would actually get to know me and they see that I was like very timid. I was afraid to say what I really wanted to say. I would just try to say whatever the girl wanted to hear, like just, oh, you're so pretty and this and that or whatever. But I wouldn't show my real personality. So there was like a weakness in my character that was very obvious to girls. And so they would lose interest very quickly. So, even talking about it, it's like, man, I can't believe that used to be me. Now on the other side, you see that is a recent picture of me playing the piano, and I'm sure you could just tell just by my demeanor, you can just tell like there's a huge difference. I'm very peaceful. I look very peaceful. Hopefully you're getting a peaceful vibe from that picture. I'm very peaceful. I'm just in my zone, right? That tray right there, he's not putting any girls on no pedestals. Okay, he's not breaking his character to make a girl like him. He's not seeking validation, right? He's not pretending to be something he's not, right? He's not being overly nice just so he can get something in return from someone, right? That Trey is grounded in his masculinity, right? He knows what he wants. He goes after it, right? He applies his intelligence. He can deal with whatever life throws at him. We're gonna go into this, but I just want you to like see the difference in the feeling you get by looking at each picture. You know. So if you're watching this, where are you now, right? I just want you to see who this presentation is really for. Who will get the most value out of this? My thing is helping you with women. Now, when you become grounded in your masculinity, this is gonna help you in all areas of your life. I want you to understand that. Like, it's not just about women. You're gonna get to a place where you feel peaceful, because you are happy with yourself, you love yourself, you are living as the man that you dream of, right? The man that you visualize and oh man, it would be so great to be like that. When you become grounded in your masculinity, you become that. But like internally. So you may think you need all these things to be grounded in your masculinity. You may think you need a lot of money. You may think you need a lot of women, all these things. No, you become a certain type of way and then you start attracting those things. It's actually the opposite of what you think. You become a certain type of man. You become grounded in your masculinity, and then the women start coming. Then the money starts coming. Then all these things start coming, and you don't even really care because you're already whole. You're already happy. You're already in love with yourself and your life. So these things just start coming to you effortlessly, right? But where are you right now, right? If you're watching this, you're probably, been making an effort to meet and connect with women, and it's bringing you little to no results. Okay, I'm basically looking at it like, okay, where was I? Where was I before I became grounded in my masculinity? Well, here, this is where I was, right? My efforts to meet and connect with women was bringing little to no results. Okay. I couldn't get a girl to save my life. And, that's what got me into doing cold approaches. You hear me speak about, I started going out approaching women because the women that I would get, in touch with or associate with, whether it be in school or my workplace or social circle, whatever, I would always somehow drop the ball with them because my behavior was weak. I was too nice, right? I wasn't showing any masculinity. I wasn't proactive with women. I didn't lead. I wasn't assertive. I wasn't, able to communicate authentically, right? I was just like a big uh like a big joke, a big joke in the sense that I was trying to be something that I wasn't. Like if I tried to get a girl, it was me like, oh yeah, let me see if I can be a little cool right now, whatever. Instead of just letting my true personality come out. Like to be grounded in your masculinity, it means you become who you really are, but you have strength in it, right? So all you need to do is realize you already have everything you need, but somehow you've developed some programs that are sabotaging you in your mind. You've developed a way of thinking, a way of acting, a way of feeling that is not who you really are. And you may have developed it to protect yourself. It could have came from some past trauma or these other things, right? As you see, I'm so passionate about this stuff. I start getting into it deeply. But let's just see if we can finish this here. Where are you now? So your efforts to meet and connect with women are bringing in little to no results. You're struggling to get consistent weekly dates, right? So what is this? This is an issue with connecting with women because your masculinity is not showing up. When your masculinity shows up, what happens? You attract feminine energy. You feel like it's unfair. Other men are getting women and you're not. This was a big one for me. Me looking around and knowing, because I knew I was a cool guy, and I'm like, man, I'm a cool guy, I'm into sports, I'm athletic, I play the piano, certain things, but I was wondering why am I not getting no girls, you know? Why are these other guys getting girls? And some of them I didn't really see them have too many too much going for them. But as we'll get into, they were grounded in their masculinity in their own way. So being grounded in your masculinity can show up in unique ways, right? Like I I communicate a certain way, version of grounded masculinity. Somebody else may communicate in a different way. His version of it may be a little funnier, for example, or somebody else's version may be a little more whatever, more artistic, whatever. There's different ways it shows up, but there's like certain archetypes that show up, which I'm gonna go into. Um, so yeah, you feel it's unfair. Other men are getting women, you're not, and then the years keep going by, and you're still not getting where you want to be in your dating life, love life. This was another big one. Watching the years go by and you're still not getting the girl. You may have set a goal to get a certain type of girl or certain results in your dating life. And you're still not getting. You're wondering what is going on. You're doing the things they say. Oh, you got to look better. You see, you're working on yourself, trying to look better and all that shit. And they're like, oh, you got to make more money. So you're making more money. And you're doing all these things. You're not getting the girls. So what I want to get you to understand is it's not about these superficial things or these external things that they try to make you think is what gets the women. It's the internal stuff. It's your character, and I describe it as being grounded in your masculinity, which people may say, oh, you become confident or you become secure or whatever. But I use the term grounded masculinity so you can understand there's like an energy to it, but the energy is grounded. Where do you want to be? Right? Some tangibles, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you were getting 1 to 3 dates per week consistently, not relying on luck? Like, what if this was part of your character, part of your movie of life? In your movie of life, you get 1 to 3 dates per week consistently. What if you had a rotation of 2 to 3 women that you're seeing on a weekly basis? When I say rotation, I mean you are seeing 2 to 3 women romantically or sexually on a consistent basis. So you have like romantic and sexual relationships with these women, right? But you haven't locked it into like an exclusive monogamous thing. They kind of get that you're seeing other women, and that's the vibe of it. Okay, that's your rotation. You're confident and grounded as a man, and you feel like you can achieve any goal you set your mind to. As I said, being grounded in your masculinity is not just about women. You become very powerful when this happens, right? You literally feel like you can do anything. Like you're no longer thinking, I don't know, that's too hard, or I don't know if I can do that. Whatever. You start to think differently, right? You start to think, oh yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah, you know what? I want to make $1 million this year. Or you know what? I want to get that type of girl or whatever it is. You start to realize you can do anything if you apply yourself properly, if you execute properly, right? But you become the type of man who sees things in an optimistic way. You stop being so pessimistic, like, oh, I don't know, or it's gonna take forever, this and that. That guy is not gonna achieve anything, right? We just gotta understand there's certain ways of being. Like somebody who has a certain level of success is because of the way he is. It's his beingness. Otherwise, he would lose that success, right? If somebody's able to maintain success, it's their beingness. It's not luck. Okay, now if you see them once in a blue moon, they get okay. When you can say, oh yeah, that's luck. But if it's consistently, they're consistently getting results. That's not luck, man. You know, you want to have a healthy love forward slash sex life, and this affects all other areas of your life positively. When you have a healthy love and sex life, you are just so much more motivated and inspired to just handle other areas of your life, because you don't have to worry. See, here was the thing I noticed. I tried to ignore my love and sex life for a certain period of time in my life because it was so difficult. Like, okay, I was trying to meet women and stuff, and I wasn't connecting with them, right? And I was getting rejected left and right. So I started ignoring that. I just started focusing on business, and I did actually get my business to a really high level. But what happened was I wasn't happy. You know, like connecting with the opposite sex is important. Like straight up, it's important because it's a natural need that we have as men. Okay, like you can get to a point where you don't really need love and sex. Like you can get to that point, but I personally wasn't able to get to that point until I got it first. Because if you don't actually get there, you're always gonna be wondering what if, or you know, it once you actually get a healthy love and sex life and you experience what that is, then you can transcend that. Like I was talking to someone I interviewed the other day. I'll just mention him. Jason McCain, and we were talking about how like we believe every man needs to go through this period of their life where they just get a lot of women, where they have a very healthy love and sex life, where they're just enjoying their love and sex life. So then you can mature past that, where you start to realize it's not just about having a bunch of sex or whatever, or just getting a bunch of girls. You're actually gonna want to like have legit connections and stuff like that. But how are you gonna know that until you actually experience that? So we want to experience a healthy love and sex life, and then we can go into become super spiritual and all this other stuff, right? So becoming grounded in your masculinity. Here is my understanding. When I talk about being grounded in your masculinity, I'm talking about awakening some masculine archetypes within, and then being grounded in these archetypes, right? Internalizing these archetypes and learning how to utilize them in a balanced manner. So there's this book called King Warrior Magician Lover, right? I read that book. Now I have my own interpretation of those archetypes because when I go back and trace back, like how did I become grounded in my masculinity? I actually see there were certain archetypes that I woke up within me, and then I learned how to balance them. And then once you balance them, that's when the grounded masculinity becomes a tangible thing that people can observe and you feel, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm there. So in the book, they have the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, and they interpret it a certain way. I added one more. You see, there's a J, the Joker. Okay, that's another archetype I had because I looked. What are the archetypes that um, ignited within me, and I see there was actually a process that I went through. Okay, so these archetypes, you want to awaken these archetypes in yourself. The king archetype is basically when you stop following people and you start leading. You start leading and you start getting clear on a goal, on a vision, and you start building your kingdom. Like you start building your world. Like you just get tired of like, okay, I'm tired of what these people are telling me I should be doing, and I'm tired of what my parents are trying to say and my friends and this and that. Bro, I'm just gonna go into king mode and start creating and start building my kingdom and start leading, stepping into unknown and doing my own shit. Like you become a king. You're not worried about what anybody's doing anymore. Like you just step into your own zone, your own lane, and start building your kingdom, right? And it just means you get into creation mode. You start creating, right? That was the first thing I did. I tapped into the king. Then after the king, the next one that I tapped into was actually the Joker. Because when you start creating and you start building and stuff like that, you're gonna hit resistance. You're gonna hit resistance. There's gonna be rejection. There's gonna be blocks and stuff like that. Now, how do you overcome this rejection and this resistance and this blocks and these things holding you back? You start to develop a sense of humor. You start to just laugh and get on with shit. The Joker. What I learned from the Joker is he went through so much pain and misery that he just started seeing everything as a joke. And so he was no longer attached to things going a certain way or whatever. He just started doing shit. Now the Joker, if you look him up, now the character, I'm talking to the character of the Joker from the Batman movies. Um, make sure I make that clear. I'm talking about the Joker from the Batman movies. When I talk about the Joker, I'm talking about that one because that's the one that helped me. That character helped me. I studied Mark Hamill's Joker. Um, I studied Jack Nicholson's Joker. I studied Heath Ledger's. Right. One thing the Joker has in common with no matter which one you study is there's this carefreeness. There's this detachment from the outcome. There's this ability to be comfortable with chaos. Um, the Joker. When you think of the Joker, do you think of someone who's afraid of rejection? Do you think of someone who lets obstacles stop him from doing what he wants to do? Do you think of someone who needs things to go exactly as planned? Like if you watch the movies, he literally says in one of the lines, "Do I look like somebody who has a plan?" or some shit like that he says, right? So he's not attached to anything. He's just living his life. And you need that characteristic, that archetype within you to like get past, because I'm telling you, in life, I don't care what anybody tells you, rejection is a part of life. Um, pain is a part of life. Difficulty is a part of life. Struggles are part of life. So how do you get past this? The Joker helped me get past it. If you're wondering, somebody asked me one day, how do you deal with rejection, man? I just laugh at it, man. It's no big deal. I just don't take it that seriously. I see the humor in it. Like, so, a lot of times I'm like, yo, so you can't even really be rejected. Like, can somebody even know who you are in that short period of time? Like you can uh be in a relationship with somebody for many years and still not know who they are. So how can somebody reject you in that short period of time? If we're talking about cold approach, for example, you approach a woman and she rejects you. Is she really rejecting you? Or is she just rejecting that moment, the information she received in that moment, right? She's rejecting that moment. Like there's plenty of times that I've approached a girl or communicated to a girl and she rejected me in that moment, but later on I end up having a romantic or sexual relationship with her, right? Because I don't really believe in rejection, or I'm not attached to it. I just let it go. Like if it happens, okay, and I just move on. And I just smile, I literally smile, like the Joker, you know? So the king, we have the Joker. The next archetype that I tapped into was the warrior, which is the beast. Okay, the warrior, which is the beast. Um, if you ever heard me use the term beast, I'm talking about the warrior. This is the part of you that starts he really just like stops giving a fuck. I think the Joker, it starts with the Joker. Like the Joker is where you stop getting a fuck, but then the warrior is like the action that comes with not giving a fuck, you see? The beast is the action. The beast is when you wake up and you're like, okay, let's go. You done tapped into the king. You got clear on your purpose. You done tapped into leadership. You done tapped into the Joker. You stop taking things so seriously. You detach from outcome. Now the beast shows up and the beast is ready to take action. The beast is ready to make shit happen, right? The beast is ready to kick down the door. He's not gonna. He's tired of trying to open the door with the key and yo, kick that door down, man. That's the beast. That's when the beast shows up. That's what the beast says. I can't be broken. You can't hurt me. You can't. There's nothing you can do to stop me. It's game over for you. That's the beast. You start to look for danger. You start to look for the challenges. You start to actually enjoy it. You start to enjoy rejection. It starts to taste good, right? You tap into an animal. That's the beast. And then after that one, I tapped into the lover. The lover is very interesting. Now, as I said, these are my interpretations of this. So if you read the book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, they may describe it a little bit differently. I read the book too, but what I like to do is read books and get my own interpretation. The lover was basically me falling in love with myself, falling in love with my life, and then becoming a man of unconditional love. How you fall in love with yourself? You start choosing yourself. Once you tap into the king, joker, and the warrior, you're gonna start falling in love with yourself. Why? Because you're gonna start living how you really want to live. You're gonna start being how you really want to be. You're gonna start saying what you really want to say. You're gonna start acting how you really want to act. You're gonna start feeling how you really want to feel. And then what happens? You start to fall in love with yourself. You start to fall in love with your life. Then once you fall in love with yourself, you fall in love with your life. You're gonna have so much love to give that you're gonna have the capability of giving unconditional love. This is when you start giving love to people without expecting anything in return. And when this happens, you become very powerful. Like you become very powerful. This is what really starts grounding things out because now you're just really not reactive and you're giving too. So a lot of things are gonna start coming back to you. Like you have the law of cause and effect. You have the law of you know, they say if whatever you give will come back to you tenfold. Um, so you have these different laws of the universe, and you tap into it. But by tapping into unconditional love, a lot of amazing things are gonna start happening to you, man. Right? Because you're gonna just start doing things for people, giving, and it's not gonna come from a place of I need something back. But what happens is you tap into that law that says whatever you give will come back to you in tenfold. So things start coming to you. As money starts coming to you, women starts coming to you. It comes like out of no. It's not out of nowhere because, like I said, cause and effect. You did something and it's coming back to you. But it's very interesting. Now, the last one that I tapped into was the magician. Now, this is my understanding of the magician. The magician to me is when you start to understand exactly what you're doing. Like you start to break down um your life into a formula. Like you start to know exactly how to get the women. You start to know exactly how to get the money. Because you done tapped into knowledge, right? You started acquiring knowledge. You started applying that knowledge. You started like seeing patterns and getting understandings. You start having conversations with different people, right? You start tapping into these different opportunities. You start to really understand what's going on. So like you get like really intelligent about shit. You become really wise, right? So you done achieve a certain level of self mastery, but now you start mastering others. You start mastering the universe. You start mastering the laws of the universe and the way things work. And whatever field you're in, you start to master your field. And now when you start operating throughout life, it starts to look like you're a magician. It starts to look like you're working magic, but it's you just understand what you're doing at a very high level. So to those who don't understand, it looks like magic, but to you, it's like, I mean, if you want to call it magic, that's great, but I know exactly what I'm doing here, right? So those are the archetypes, right? And when you once you tap into these archetypes and you really internalize them and you become comfortable with them, you become grounded in your masculinity, right? There's a certain relaxed and peaceful state that you develop, um, and you just stop being so reactive to shit. So let me just break it down, like in a way you can understand. If you want to tap into the king, you tap into this version of yourself that starts leading. You stop following people. Stop looking to get the answers from other people. Know what you want and start applying yourself. And then any information that things you don't understand, you go and read books. You go and get the information, of course. But you have your own vision, right? You're not doing something for someone else or to make someone else happy. You're a king building a kingdom, right? You're creating, you're building your empire. Like you become, eh, you know, hopefully when you were a kid, you had like you were really in touch with your imagination. And when you're a kid, to me, you're kind of like a king because as a kid, you just like you believe you can do anything. You have um your own mind. Like I want to be a Power Ranger, or I want to be a astronaut, or I want to be Superman, or whatever. And like when a kid says it, he's not like doubting himself, like he's dead serious, you know. And then people start telling him, "Oh, that's not realistic." And then what happens, right? But you want to get back to that childlike state where you're like, you know what, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm going for it. And it may even sound crazy or impossible, but you're like, yo, I'm a king. I can do anything, you know. There's certain people that did some crazy things in life. Like we just had Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Martin Luther King was a king, right? Like he believed in a world that didn't exist. He believed in a world where people of all colors could get along. And in his time, that was extremely ridiculous. That was ludicrous. That was, foolish, based on what was being seen with the senses, right? There's no way. But he believed. He started leading. He wasn't following what was going on. He started leading. He had a vision. He had a purpose, and he just went for it. That's the king. The king shows up as a leader, right? And I mean, there's different types of kings, but I'm talking about like a king, like a respectable king, a king that we would look and say, yo, that's a king, right? He's a leader, right? He's dominant, not dominant in a bad way. He just like he executes his will, right? He exerts his will, and he'll break through obstacles, or he'll figure out how to maneuver through them. But they ain't no giving up or no folding or no turning back, right? This is a mighty king, royalty, right? You carry yourself with respect and you demand respect, right? You speak up for yourself. You act on your goals and your visions. And you don't need anybody to validate anything. You go and make the shit happen. You make people believe. If they don't believe in you, you make them believe. That's the attitude of the king. You really start believing in yourself. That's probably that. If I had to summarize it into one word, it's belief. You stop believing in other people's ideas that they gave you. You stop believing in your past. You start believing in your future. You start believing in the present moment where all possibilities exist. You start to believe that anything is possible. You start to believe in limitless potential. So that's the king. The Joker. Look at the smile on his face. Like you could just see like he just it's just not that serious. It's a joke. And that's you want that character. You want to have that character where somebody can like yell at you, scream at you, and you just laugh at them. Now you don't have to actually laugh at them, but what I mean is like you're just not caught up in it. You're just not attached. Like you're just like, man, like why are you so serious? Like calm down, relax. It's not that serious, man. Life goes on, right? Like, of course, we're human, right? So it's normal to have a little emotional reaction to something, but when it's sustained for a long period of time, that's they will too taking shit too serious, man. You get rejected, like, okay, let it. Of course, it stings a little bit in the moment, but then we move on, right? I don't know, you make a business move and the business move doesn't work out. Okay, yeah, it sucked that it didn't work out, but you go, you keep it moving. You move on to the you learn from that mistake and you do it better next time. You know? The Joker, like his plans don't always go as planned, and he just starts laughing and goes to plan B. You know, he does it. You know, the Joker character, it's like you turn up your sense of humor. You start to like see everything as funny, you know? Like I went kind of extreme with it at one point where literally like everything became a joke to me for a little period of time. Maybe you have to do that for a little bit. I don't know. You know, everyone has their own path, but I'm showing you what I did. As you can see, like it's balanced. You don't see me going around laughing and like acting crazy, but that character is there. Like if you ever notice me or can tell like there's an element of carefreeness or detachment from the outcome, that's that archetype within. That's where that's coming from. You know, I started living like that for a period of time where I just stopped taking shit seriously. I literally would go out and get rejected and practice smiling after the rejection. Literally, I get rejected and I just start smiling. Or I would literally be smiling and say and go into a situation where I tried to get rejected, you know, and I would be smiling while I'm going for it. Like I go up to a girl and say, "Man, I would love to take you to McDonald's. Man, I know, man, let's go to McDonald's right now. That's the best, that's the perfect date for me and you." Right? You know, that I'm just thinking of something stupid to say that you know wouldn't be the best thing to say, but you're saying it because you're the Joker, right? Whatever, right? Um, but yeah, basically you start to tap into this carefreeness where you're like, man, I think I'm taking shit a little bit too serious. I'm causing my own misery. You know, that was the next thing I noticed. It's like when you get all serious and angry and frustrated when something doesn't go your way, you're causing your own anger. Like you're choosing to interpret things in that way. You're choosing to be miserable or angry or whatever. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? The warrior, also known as the beast. This is when you tap into um nonviolent aggressive action. It's not about being violent. Okay, the beast. When I talk about being a beast, it has nothing to do with being violent. I haven't gotten to any physical altercation in a long ass time. But the beast shows up in the sense of like, as I said, aggressive action. So this may be aggressive action towards maybe your physical fitness, towards your personal goals, you know, like the type of person you want to become. You start taking aggressive action towards that. Maybe your income goals, like if you want to make a certain amount of money, you start taking aggressive action towards that. If you want to create a certain dating life or love life, instead of sitting around hoping for it or whatever, you start taking aggressive action towards that. Right, that's when the beast of the warrior shows up. That's what that looks like. It's like you're taking a lot of action, consistent action, right? And you're showing up and it's consistent. You know, that's the key thing. Is if you just take like a bunch of action one day and you stop, you're not really being a beast. You're not really being a warrior. You're just like you just had a little moment there, and I guess that's whatever. But that consistency is key, right? Like this dude right here, like if he just does one bow and arrow shot and then he's done, like that ain't no warrior. Like you got to keep going until the mission is complete, until the mission is accomplished. That's the warrior. That's the beast. And then the lover, as I said, you know, it starts first by you falling in love with yourself and falling in love with your life. So that means You choosing you. You know, you start doing the things you really want to do. You start saying the things you really want to say. You basically start caring about people's opinions, right? And start loving yourself, choosing yourself, right? If you don't love yourself, you can't really love anyone else. That's like a key thing I also want to point out here is like if you want a healthy love life, well, you have to be capable of loving, and you're not going to be able to love anyone if you don't love yourself, right? So you fall in your love with yourself by putting yourself first. You start going after your goals. You start doing what you really want to do. You start you start respecting yourself. You won't tolerate disrespect anymore. Anybody that disrespects you, you either cut them off or you put them in their place. Like you just stop allowing shit to go in a way that you don't want it to go, right? And then when you start loving yourself, your life starts to get better. You start to love your life, right? If you're doing the things you want to do, saying the things you want to say, being the things, you're creating a movie that you actually love being a part, right? And then what happens? You start falling in love with your life. Then, as I said, once you fall in love with yourself and fall in love with your life, now you can love others. Now you can actually get to a point of unconditional love where you giving love to people without expecting anything in return. To me, giving love just means helping people, supporting people, being there for people, like serving people. And really, really, when you have a lot of love within, all you're gonna want to do is give love. Like that has been my experience. That's why I'm like talking about this stuff because it's like it is what it is. Like once I fell in love with myself and fell in love with my life, I started wanting to give love and give love in my own way. It's not like somebody else's way of yeah, this is what love. No, my way of giving love, right? Giving value in the way that I can give value, serving in the way that I can serve. And the magician is when you start to really understand life. Like this is when you really become grounded because now you start to look like you're doing magic, right? Like there's something about people look at you and be like, yo, there's something about him, right? Because you actually have certain knowledge and understanding and you're applying it and it's creating a unique effect on people. So you start to look like a magician or a wizard or a Jedi or some out of this world being because you done tapped into a unique understanding of life that only you could have because you have a unique experience. Like if you go and gain information and you go and get references and you express yourself authentically and you have these unique experiences and you really become who you really are, you're going to become magical. You're going to become very magical. Okay, like you're going to be able to do things that most people can't do. You're going to be able to communicate in a way that most people can't communicate, right? You're gonna be able to live in a way that most people can't live. And that's the magician. That's because you become wise, right? You achieve self mastery. Like this is you. Like when you go through these processes of tapping into these archetypes, you start to get more control over your mind. You start to understand the way you think. You start to understand yourself more. You start to understand some of your behaviors and things you like to do. You start to see the subconscious programs in your mind that are running. Right? There's specific things that you do in these stages. Obviously, this presentation would be super long if I went into every single detail, but I'm giving you an understanding so you can see, like, okay, what makes up a grounded masculine man, at least the way I see it. They probably have these archetypes like developed really well. And as I said, these can show up in unique ways. My grounded masculinity is going to be different from somebody else's. But when we can both be grounded in our masculinity, it just looks different. One guy might be a little more serious. One guy might be a little more relaxed. One guy might be a little funnier. One guy might, whatever, right? One guy might be a little more loving. Okay. So those are the archetypes. So now I want to give you a summary of what we spoke about here on grounded masculinity. We have the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, and the joker. Matter of fact, ask yourself, like, which one of these archetypes, or do you feel like you've developed these archetypes? Yes or no? You know, if you feel like you've developed these archetypes, then you should have some level of grounded masculinity. Like it should be noticeable. If I have a conversation with you, I should be able to tell, like, oh, this guy's pretty grounded. You know, because you done develop these archetypes within. Now, the thing about developing these archetypes is that you get specific results. Now, me, as I said, my thing is women because that's what I struggled with the most. That's why I focus on that because I struggled with that the most, and I used grounded masculinity to handle that. I didn't really learn a bunch of pickup lines. I didn't really learn a bunch of all this shit. I just became a grounded masculine man, and grounded masculine men are attractive to women because women mainly carry feminine energy, right? So if you are a masculine man and you're grounded in it, you're gonna attract feminine energy. So that means you're gonna attract women. Like that's just like a normal. That's just like a that's just the way this shit works. That's how attraction works. It's masculine energy and feminine energy interacting, right? And if the masculine energy is grounded enough to contain the feminine energy, because feminine energy is chaotic. So if you can show up and tame the feminine energy, what happens? She becomes submissive. Now, if you're masculine but it's not grounded and you can't control it, then it's just a chaotic mess, right? And you can attract her, but that relationship's gonna be all over the place. It's not gonna be a healthy relationship. When you're grounded, the woman will submit and she'll be feminine with you. It's very interesting. A woman will be masculine with another man, but if you show up as grounded masculinity, all of a sudden she's feminine with you. So when you become grounded in your masculinity, when you tap into the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, the joker, let me see if I can use one word to describe all these. Now, obviously, one word cannot, you know, specifically describe the entire archetype, but I just want to do it just so we can summarize here. So, the king, if I had to put one word to demonstrate when you have tapped into the king energy, I would say the king energy, man, it's hard to put it in one word, but I'd say it's the energy of leadership. Let's go with that because I'm thinking, okay, I could say creation, I could say dominance, right? But the energy of leadership is when you start leading in your life. You're done with what people have told you, you're done with your past, you're done with the bullshit, you're done with the lies, you're done with all that. You start leading, you start going for what you want. You actually start taking risk and start living a life of creation instead of a life of fear and survival. There's a difference. So that's the king energy. The warrior or the beast energy, if I had to put it into one word, I would say the word that's coming up to me is aggression. But I want to clarify when I say aggression. Remember when I talked about it, I said it's nonviolent aggressive action. So it just means you start getting into action mode. Like if somebody says, yo, beast mode, what do they mean? Let's go, let's put in work, let's exert energy, let's take action, right? That's what the warrior is. The warrior is like, okay, you call on the warrior because you have a mission that needs to be accomplished. You need somebody who can take action and execute. It's not time to think about it, it's not time to talk about it. Get the shit done. That's the warrior energy. The magician is the wisdom, the wise man, the one who understands, like has an understanding or like a formula or like a science behind what he's doing. You see, like it's not random, it's not luck. It's like, okay, you understand how shit is working. I think the magician really starts to show up when you start achieving self-mastery. Like you start to understand yourself, you start to understand your mind, and you start to reprogram the old subconscious programs and put in the ones that you really want. So now you have mental mastery. You start to learn how to handle your emotions, like you tap into emotional intelligence or emotional mastery, where you're no longer reactive to your emotions and you actually know how to create emotional states within. That means you can shift your emotional state. It's a very powerful thing. You become a magician when you develop self mastery, and then to take it a step further, you start mastering your life. You start mastering others. You start understanding how people work. And you start to become very present and grounded to the moment. You can see these little subtleties that other people can't see because you're so grounded and present. That's the magician. Okay, so one word for the magician, I would say, I want to say wisdom. I'm gonna just go with wisdom. The lover, one word, love, pretty much, right? You just start loving. You start loving yourself. You start loving your life. You start loving others, right? The Joker, one word. To me, the word that's coming up is freedom. When you tap into the Joker, you tap into a level of freedom that is very very exciting. You just stop. caring. You stop giving a fuck. You stop being so attached to the outcome. You start to detach. Start to relax, right? You start to laugh and smile because you also, if you done tapped into these other archetypes, you start to realize, man, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna hit the goal. I'm gonna be successful. So why not enjoy this moment now? Why not laugh now? Why not have a good time now? Why not be happy now? Why do I need to wait to be happy? The Joker realizes the fun is in the moment. The fun is in the process. It's in the journey. Is you don't wait until everything is accomplished, then you laugh. So you're telling me all that shit that happened, you waited until one moment to laugh, and then now you're waiting for death now. Like we gotta enjoy the moment now. We're not even promised the next moment, right? You gotta enjoy every single thing you do. That's what the Joker is having fun every moment. He's laughing every moment. He's constantly smiling and giggling, right? So those are archetypes. Now, if you become grounded in your masculinity, you tap into these archetypes and internalize them and develop them. Here are some results. I'm just telling you the results that I was able to achieve, right? And these are the results that I help other men achieve. Other men that I coach, because I can give this gift to them of grounded masculinity, they start seeing these results too. It's actually impossible. If you come to me and you work with me and you get influenced by me, you're gonna get these results because you're gonna feel it. You're gonna learn by osmosis, right? We have these things called mirror neurons where you're just going to start mirroring what I'm doing, right? Because you're going to see the strength, you're going to see the power, and you're going to pick up on subtleties. And then if I'm coaching you, I'm actually going to be giving you exact advice. So here's what you do. Or you want to tap into the king, or here's how you do it. You want to tap into the warrior, the beast, here's how you do it. You want to tap into the magician, the lover, the joke, here's how you do it. And then here's the results you get when you do it, right? When you become grounded in your masculinity, if you go to a woman and you approach her as a king, combined with a warrior, combined with a magician, combined with a lover, combined with a joker. You don't think you're going to get better results with women if you show up as that dynamic man who's grounded in those archetypes? You're going to get women because you have guys who haven't even became grounded in their masculinity and they're getting women. So what do you think would happen if you became that beingness? You know why you would get women? Because you wouldn't even care if you got women. When you become grounded in your masculinity, you stop giving a shit. You done tapped into so many powerful archetypes that you're just so in love with yourself, so in love with your life that these things just come to you effortlessly. Like, of course, you have to take some action. Like, I'm not saying you become grounded in your masculinity and then you just go sit down in your chair for the rest of your life. You keep doing your thing, but these things start coming to you a lot easier because you have become the type of man who gets these things. So you can expect to get a rotation of 2 to 3 women that you're seeing on a weekly basis, right? So this basically means you'll have the strength of character to go out and approach women. And if you do it consistently, right, I'll give you a formula. So, obviously, I'm going to talk about if you want to work together, I'm going to give you an option for that. But literally, I'm going to give you a formula to get a rotation of 2 to 3 women. Now, if you develop these archetypes, you're going to get that result, whether you work with me or not. Right? It's just if you work with me, we speed up the process because I can tell you exactly, oh, here's how I did it. Here's what you need to do. But if you can tap into those archetypes, getting a rotation of women is going to be a piece of cake. I'm telling you, piece of cake. Okay, because you're going to have the character that can get that. That's going to be too small. Like your character is so great. Like getting a rotation of 2 to 3 women is such a small thing compared to becoming grounded in your masculinity and internalizing and developing these archetypes. So it means rotation of 2 to 3 women means you have romantic and sexual connections with 2 to 3 women, essentially. And you have like relationships that are moving forward, meaning they're sustainable or they're consistent, right? You're confident and grounded as a man. You feel like you can take over the world if you wanted to. So it basically means when you become grounded in your masculinity, you no longer see limitation. You become limitless. You literally believe you can. You believe you can do anything. Like there's nothing you don't think. Oh man, I don't know if I could do that. You just don't think like that anymore because you realize how powerful you are. You realize that you have the archetypes of the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, and the joker within. What's stopping you from taking over the world if you wanted to? right? That's kind of like a little joke that I mean, you're not gonna want to take over the world. You're gonna want to make the world a better place. That's what you're gonna want to do. Okay, you're gonna want to give. You're gonna want to create. You're gonna want to cultivate. You're gonna want to connect, network, build. You know, um, evolve. You're gonna have a healthy love and sex life, and this will affect all other areas of your life positively. So when you become grounded in your masculinity, basically you become healthy. Like you internally become a healthy balance of masculinity, and you tap into the lover, so you become loving. And sex. Let's look at sex real quick. Sex is a natural thing. It's a natural expression of life. Like if you are grounded in your masculinity, which means you are no longer um, being something that you're not. You're no longer pretending to be nice or pretending to be this or putting on this shield or this costume or this mask to protect yourself. Like you actually become your true beingness, like who you really are, your true authentic self, but a powerful version of that. You're naturally going to express your sexuality. Your sexuality is basically just you expressing yourself freely in a masculine way, and you're going to attract feminine women, feminine energy. And when masculine energy and feminine energy come into play, and there's like this good nice match where, or I should say, it's like there's this dance when the masculine energy and the feminine energy can dance together. That's what creates the electricity, and that's what creates the attraction, and that's what leads to sex. Like if you are a masculine man and you express your masculine in a certain way, and a feminine woman shows up, or a woman who's in her feminine energy shows up, and her feminine expression complements your masculine expression, you're naturally gonna want to have sex. Like you're not gonna have to try to convince her. She's gonna want to have sex with you because she's gonna realize this is the energy I want to be around. Like I don't need to be any. This is the best energy I can get. It's kind of like, you show up and she's like, that's what I've been looking for. But that's only gonna happen when you truly become your authentic self. And when you unleash these masculine archetypes, all you're doing is unleashing parts of yourself that already wanted to come out. As I said, the king is a part of you that wants to lead and create and make shit happen, right? There's a part of you that wants to do shit like what you actually want to do, not the shit that people are telling you to do, what you really want to do. The beast, there's a part of you that just wants to beast out, that just wants to take a lot of action on the shit that you actually care about doing. You see, we don't want to take action on shit we don't want to do, the shit you really want to do, right? The magician, that's you when you become wise and understanding because you done went and got the knowledge that you wanted to get. You started learning about the shit you wanted to learn. You started to understand things, right? And then you started applying that stuff and getting references and develop wisdom. And then, the love, you fall in love with your life because you start doing the things you really want to do. The Joker, you start to stop taking things so seriously, start to detach from the outcome, right? You start to see the humor in things. You start to see how, you have a choice. You have a choice of how you respond to things. You can respond in a miserable, serious manner, or you can respond in a positive, light-hearted manner, right? Bro, you become attractive to women, period. You become attracted to yourself. You become attractive to men too. Like in the sense that not that men is like trying to have sex with you. I mean, they'd be like, yo, this is a cool dude right here. Like when you become grounded in your masculinity, men want to be around you because you have the qualities that a man would want to associate with. You're a king, you're a warrior, you're a magician, you're a lover, you're a joker, all in one. What man wouldn't want to be friends with that man? What woman wouldn't want to be with a man like that? Right? Think about that. So this is a summary of this whole presentation. I hope you got value from it. Now I want to offer an opportunity for us to work together. If this is something that makes sense to you and you want to tap into this stuff and you would like my help, obviously I went through this process. This is not me like trying to like make something that sounds cool. Like this is exactly what I did. Like I unleashed these archetypes and I became grounded in them, right? So I can show you how to do it for yourself, right? And so you can create your own unique version of grounded masculinity. You can expect these results in regards to women, but there's all these other great things that are gonna happen. Your income is gonna go up. You're gonna make more money, right? Your relationships with your friends and family is gonna get better. The ones who supposed to be in your life, those relationships are gonna get better. The ones who aren't supposed to be in your life, you're gonna cut them off because you're gonna fall in love with yourself, and you're not gonna allow anyone to be in your life that is not supporting you or is not complimenting you, like complimenting your energy, right? Like they're not they don't they shouldn't be there. Like either a distraction or they're negative, right? You cut that shit off because you start to love yourself too much to allow these things to affect you, right? You feel more peace, you feel more love, you feel more joy. You start experiencing moments of bliss, literally. You can't wait to wake up the next morning because you're so in love with life, right? These are some of the things that happen when you're grounding your masculine. You stop giving a shit about rejection and people's opinions and what this guy thinks and what. You just start expressing yourself and living your life, man. You just feel so free. You feel like you can fly. So this opportunity to work together is called the Masculine Throne Initiation. This is a 6 week program. This comes with 6 one-on-one sessions. We jump on a session. Each session is going to be dedicated to one of the archetypes. And then you will have a final session that's going to be about grounding these archetypes and how to sustain and maintain them and execute and get the results you want in your life because of your new found founded grounded masculine expression of who you are. Okay, so this is a 6 week program. As I said, there's 6 one-on-one sessions, one for each archetype, and then you have the one that brings it all together. You also get access to my masculine mastermind, which is my mastermind group where we do right now. What we're doing is daily meditations because I'm really into meditation now. This definitely helps you become more grounded, but also helps you become more conscious. Um, More conscious meaning you're more aware, right? You're not locked into the subconscious programs of your mind. You're no longer running on autopilot. You're not so reactive. You become very conscious and aware, and you're able to like kind of navigate through life, kind of like there's levels to this, but you start to become like Neo in the Matrix. Like when he starts to like he gets out of the program and he starts to see like when you meditate, like that shit starts happening, like your own version of it. Obviously, it's not like you know it's not exactly as the movie is, but you start to feel like that, like man, start to feel more elevated, like you ascended some bullshit. So you get access to the mastermind group. We do the daily mastermind calls at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I record the calls so you can watch them and do the meditations or whatever. I also do presentations in there. You can every single day you can literally get in contact with me through that program because I'm in there every single day at 10 a.m. You get access to the Godlike Confidence program. This is a program that shows you how to develop godlike confidence with women. So if you are interested in being able to approach women and be like just extremely confident and be able to connect with women and express yourself authentically and lead, right? It's basically the what I'm talking about here in regards to grounded masculinity, but it's specific to approaching women and dealing with women, you see? And I go really deep into like the mind, the subconscious mind, and how to overcome old subconscious programs and how to break free from the past and how to shape yourself into a more powerful identity and how to tap into 5D and the quantum field. Like I go into all these interesting things that you can utilize to get the results you want. So you get access to that program and basically what you can expect, like, okay, what are some tangible results? You're gonna become grounded in your masculinity. Obviously, I went into what exactly that means here. You're gonna become the ultimate version of yourself. And I mean, what do you think would happen if you became the ultimate version of yourself? Your income's gonna go up. You're gonna become more powerful. You're gonna become more attractive. You're gonna become more. You're gonna achieve higher levels or greater levels of peace of mind. If you're not achieving any peace of mind, well, you're gonna experience peace of mind, right? You're gonna experience more joy. You're gonna experience moments of bliss. You're gonna experience, a better love life, better sex life, better relationships. Like everything just gets so much better, and you finally feel like, yo, this is what life is about. Like, this is how life is supposed to be lived, right? You get a rotation of 2 to 3 women. You see how small that sounds now? But yeah, you get that. You get a rotation of 2 to 3 women. Like maybe it doesn't sound small. Maybe you're like, nah, man, that doesn't sound small. I want a rotation 2 to 3 women. Well, then you're gonna get that, right? You're gonna have women in your life because when you become a grounded masculine man, you're gonna attract feminine energy, and women are feminine energy essentially, right? And then you're gonna raise your confidence to godlike level. So basically, your confidence is gonna go through the roof. Like once you um, awaken these archetypes and become grounded in them, you start to feel like you start to feel like you can do anything. Like that's the best way for me to put it, because you're just so well rounded. You have these different archetypes that you can shapeshift into at any moment. Like when you need to be a king, you can be a king. When you need to be a warrior, you can be a warrior. When you need to be a magician, you can be a magician. When you need to be a lover, you need to be a joker. And you can combine these. Like you can be a king warrior, or you can be a magician lover. You could be a joker warrior. You know what I mean? You just become so dynamic. Like there's no situation you can't handle. All right. And then you increase your income. Why did I add that? Because the reality is, we want to make more money, right? And if you become grounded in your masculinity, you're going to make more money. Why? Because you become more confident. You become, you achieve a high level of self mastery. You become a better communicator, right? Your energy gets better. People are going to want to be around you because you're going to have a certain aura that people are going to just want to be around, right? You become more powerful. You become a better leader. Like your whole life transforms and you transform, right? So, what is the investment? Only a one-time investment of 1997, basically $2,000. All right, $2,000 to change your life completely, to finally become grounded in your masculinity, to finally get a rotation of 2 to 3 women that you're seeing on a weekly basis, finally become confident and grounded as a man and feel like you can take over the world, to finally have a healthy love and sex life that affects all other areas of your life, to finally make the type of money you want to make. Like, have the character that can get to the money in the way that you want to get to it. Like you can. Let me tell you the difference between becoming grounded in your masculinity and just continuing to do what you're doing now. If you continue to do what you're doing now, you're probably going to get the same shit you've always been getting. It might even get worse because you might start getting depressed, right? When you become grounded in your masculinity, here's what's so great about this. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the internal experience. Like, yes, you're gonna get these external things of, yes, you're gonna get more women, yes, you're gonna make more money, yes, you're gonna have better relationships, yes, you're gonna have more sex and more love. Yes, but the internal experience, you're going to experience more love, more joy, more happiness, more peace, more um I even said moments of bliss. Like that's it, bro. And I want to help you do it. I want to help you get there. So that's why I'm extending this opportunity. This is not something that you know was easy to do. So by me being able to help you, I can help you like speed up the process is essentially what this is. Like I can make something that would take you years or maybe not even happen at all. I can help you do that in 6 weeks. Because I can just tell you, like, yo, this is what you do to tap into this archetype. Okay, we got that down this week. Okay, now next week, now we're looking at the warrior. Next week, now we're looking at the magician. Now we're looking at lover. Now we're looking at joker. Now, how do we bring them all together? Right. So if you're interested, reach out to me. Just say, hey, Trey, I'm interested in your masculine throne initiation program, and I'll give you. If you have any questions or if you're just ready to get started, we'll make it happen. All right. Thanks for watching.